All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host for today's broadcast, Insane Leader 13, as we're preparing to get underway for the 10th and final race for the FEC Summer IndyCar season. It's been 10 events. 9 of them have been completed. The championship, along with second place in points, has already been decided. The same is true for the championship in the manufacturers and the championship in the teams fight. The fights that are still up to play is third in drivers' points and second in both teams and manufacturers. So I highly encourage you to stick around for that, and even if you don't care about that, we're looking at a 150-lap race at Miami. When we ran at Miami earlier in the season, we had 3 cars, all with a blanket basically on top of them with how close they were. Got very intense at the very end, and now, this season, rules have been changed a little bit. A harder tire compound's been brought, so the tires aren't going to fall off as quickly. Also, the restart zone has been moved up the track a little bit to try and make it a little bit easier to have mid-race restarts after yellow flags. Otherwise, the race will be roughly the same as what it was earlier, but with one other big change. Right now, it is in the late afternoon, early evening. However, assuming the race doesn't go green all the way through, we are likely going to see this race end under nighttime conditions. So be ready. It will be very interesting to see how this plays out today. Real quickly, I do want to go ahead and look at the championship point standings as they are right now. Like I said, championship has already been decided, but let's go ahead and run down the order. Maybe Racing is your champion with 335 points, as is now. There is nothing that second place, Dino Prime 77, can do to catch him. He has 277 points. Third place is Amish. Now, Amish is in a position where if things get really weird, Amish could trounce Dino for second in points, but it's relatively unlikely. He would basically need to make up 24 points today. It would be possible if Amish won the race or finished second and Dino had a crash and finished near the back of the grid, but realistically we are not anticipating that to be the case today. Because third is Amish with 253, fourth is Jack Broseph, he has 242 points. Fifth is Pindaz, series host, with 212 points. Sixth is CGK Thomas with 194 points. Seventh is Williams, aka Prius Killer, with 193. Eighth is Claiming Racer with 178. Ninth is NFL Racer with 173. And 10th would be Nismo with 169 points. Those are your top 10. There are other drivers in the points totals, but we're not going to be looking at them. I'm just focusing at the very top there. In the team's championship, Genesis Magma is still sitting in 9th with 77. 8th is Damage Incorporated with 100. 7th is Tudor Racing with 111. 6th is the Ace Racing Team with 139. That's a bit of a jump. 5th place is GGA Esports. They still only have 254. 4th place is Raycon X GGA. They have 333 points. Then you have the fight for second. Hyperion Motorsports has 431 points right now, while Fredrickson Racing Enterprises has 463 points. So that is a 32-point swing. And then your team's championship is the P1 Speedworks Forward entry. In the Manufacturers' Championship, Hyundai and Cadillac are tied with 5 points at the bottom of the grid. Bentley has 16 points, Toyota has 18, Chevrolet has 32, Mazda has 33, Honda has 58, Lotus has 71, Porsche has 81. In the fight for second in the manufacturers, Buick has 160 points, Dodge has 161 points. Keep in mind, Buick is 2 cars. That is the entry by Prius Killer and the entry by Dino Prime 77. Dodge is going to be represented by Scored Buffalo today, so keep that in mind. And then Ford is your manufacturers championship. They have 240 points. As we're about to get the event underway, we are looking at 18 drivers for today's event. Do be aware that we do have a 19th car on track that will be BWT Magnesium doing pace car duties for today's race here. As real quickly they are getting the field properly ordered up here. VER Dr. Ice, it's his first start. It's his only start in the season because this is the last race of the year. And Dr. Ice has put the freeze on the series by winning the pole right off the bat here. So, very interesting to see that. Maybe Racing, your champion, is going to be starting second on the outside row. Then it will be Scored Buffalo and Jack Broseph, who will be sharing row 2. Row 3 will have Prius Killer 8110 and Thomas 086R. Row 4 will be Naito Gamer and Amish Gaming, we are believing. After that, you'll have row 5, which will be NFL Racer and Fraught Meteor. And then row 6 will be Kuroshine and Dino Prime 77. Row 7 will be Pointy Scroll and Pindaz. Row 8 will be Tony Monkey and Keen Racing Leo. And the final row will be Knees Morphed and SDR Dramora. This will only be Dramora's third start in the season. He'll be looking to try and get a top 10 finish today for the first time. And for Pindaz, he has not had a top 5 the entire season. However, he has shown up to every race that has put him in position to fight for top 5 in points. So he is looking for both a top 5 in this race to round out the season well for him, and he wants a top 5 in the points championship based on how everything files out at the end of the race today. For those of you who like IndyCar racing, well, this will be the end of this series. Might be more in the future, but right now this is the end of this series. But if you want more racing at Miami, do remember on Saturdays, on this upcoming Saturday, we'll be covering the series finale for the PTG NASCAR series, as they will have their own 300-mile race here at Miami. Okay, so big things to consider. When we went to Homestead, Miami for the second race of this season earlier in the year, biggest green flag run was only about 20 laps. There was a lot of issue with tire fall off, but the big thing was that fuel load had everything. Fuel load was the single most important thing in the race. If you had a low fuel load, you were way faster because it meant that you could carry a lot more speed mid-corner. You weren't dealing with so much weight causing a centrifugal force to fly off the edge. So be aware, drivers may very likely run a similar strategy to what we saw last time. If you throw in about 20 laps worth of fuel and just run softs, you can put out some really banger laps. But if we have a really long green flag run and we go through 2 or 3 pit stop cycles, if you're just in here trying to burn off time on soft tires, you could run into a very frustrating scenario where you will end up 1 to 3 laps down just because you are making so many more stops. We don't know how clean or green this race is going to be. The race here earlier in the season, we never had a green flag run longer than 20 laps, but rules were changed, hoping to try and enable some longer green flag runs so some actual strategy can play out today. We do want to go ahead and give thanks to BWT Magnesium, as he will be doing pace car duties for today's event here. As you see the field rolling forward, they'll have very little time to get tires up to temperature here. They basically are going to have to start doubling up once they get down to turn 3. 9 rows, 2 cars each. This will be the biggest field that we have had all season long here. As Dr. Ice, your pole setter, and he'll be starting alongside Maybe Racing. The winner of the Miami race earlier in the season was Claiming Racer, but Claiming is doing real life racing in the Mustang Challenge, so is not able to partake in this event. So he will not defend his Miami victory. This means that we could be looking at a new winner to finish off this season. Pace car pulls off as we watch the field come down onto the front straightaway once again. When does Dr. Ice hit the gas? We're green and we are underway already at Miami, and Dr. Ice absolutely fires out of the restart zone like a cannon and holds station, and it looks like they are going to call no bueno on that. That is an aborted start, so apparently he went too far, and they're going to say, nope, that does not count. So everyone's going to have to double back up into the positions they were in, and they will do a second attempt. If Dr. Ice messes up a second time, and then heaven forbid a third time, he will be given a black flag and forced to go to the rear of the grid here. Okay, everyone's doubled up again. Take 2. Again underway here at Miami. Dr. Ice needs to go at the proper time. If he goes too soon, he will end up forcing another restart. All right. And now they go. And this time it was a little bit easier. And this time, Maybe Racing did not let Dr. Ice get away. And there's scored Buffalo right behind. Buffalo's going to be the interesting one, because Buffalo is one of those drivers who generally does not like oval racing. But he has decided to jump in. He's making a one-off start here on an oval track. Very interesting thing for him to do. Around the outside goes scored Buffalo on... No, Maybe Racing on the outside. He's trapped on the outside. He's going to lose 2, maybe even 3 positions. fighting in the side-by-side fight for fourth now. As that is Prius Killer trying to get to his inside. Dr. Ice currently holds top spot, as it is Jack Brosa from Scored Buffalo and Prius Killer all in a menage a trois in their little fight for third position here. Back of the field already spreading out, but we are staying, for now at least, clean and green. And Dr. Ice has been leading every lap from the start thus far. We're right on board with Scored Buffalo, fourth in the field right now. Farther down, you can see other drivers moving up the grid. NFL Racer, Dino Prime moving up the grid after they didn't have the greatest qualifying or start runs they wanted. Jack Brosa goes to the inside of Dr. Ice. It's going to be a drag race between our top two as they head down onto turns 3 and 4 as they come out of the final corner and fly down the straightaway. It will be a dead heat, but it looks like Dr. Ice is just barely going to lead that lap, just by the smallest margins, 3 wide farther back in the field. But it does look like, as for the moment, Dr. Ice is going to be the one to beat today, as Jack Broseph and Prius Killer nose to tail in their little fight for second position. Now Prius gets a run looking to the inside. Scored Buffalo just a little bit farther back. Big twitch there by that green and black National Guard car, and that's going to give Scored Buffalo a shot to look to the inside. Jack Brosa gets another big draft on Dr. Ice. Now he looks to the inside of Dr. Ice. Neck and neck again through turns 3 and 4, and Dr. Ice washes into the outside wall, and he's going to just lick the outside wall a little bit. He's going to bleed off a huge chunk of time and go from first to fourth. Prius Killer, the man who won at Indianapolis earlier in the season, he is now back to the top, and he's got Jack Broseph right behind him and Scored Buffalo just a little bit behind that. Already, SCR Dremora is about half a lap down to our leaders. Prius on the outside, Jack Broseph inside. Here comes Scored Buffalo with a huge head of steam. He's going to pull up alongside for second. He's going to pull up alongside for first. Side by side, Scored Buffalo goes into the lead. They go into turn number 1, but the car slides wide, going through turn number 2, and now here comes Jack Broseph back to the inside. Side by side again as they go down the back straightaway. Prius looks to make it 3 wide, but he's not going to commit to it. Jack holds the lead. Now Prius Killer is going to follow Jack, and Prius goes back in front of Scored Buffalo. So now it's just a 3-man fight here at the very top of the field. Dr. Ice is a little more than a second and a half behind this group right now. So it is Jack Brosa, Prius Killer, and Scored Buffalo. Rest of the field all trying to figure stuff out between each other. We already have drivers coming into the pits, it seems. No, that is not a driver coming into the pits. That is someone who has had some sort of accident. Pointy Scroll has wrecked the car, and he has come to a stop on the front straightaway. And judging by those tire marks you can see there in turn 4, my guess is that there may have been contact, or he slid up wide and went into the outside wall. But that will be the first yellow flag of the day. Pointy Scroll Strut is going to not be required to go all the way around. Looks like they're going to go ahead and give him the okay to just go ahead and duck into the pits real quickly. So we are under the yellow flag early on here at Homestead, Miami. The entire field bunches up. Fraught Meteor, Pindaz, and Pointy Scroll all will go ahead and make a pit stop under this yellow flag. We're going to knock out one of Twitch's mandatory ad breaks. We'll be back very shortly here at Miami. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you back here to Homestead Miami Speedway. We are under the yellow flag. Pit road is open. Who's going to jump in? It looks like Prius Killer will pit out of the lead, as will Dino Prime 77. NFL Racer 4812 will go ahead and jump into the pits. So will Kuro Shine. So will Amish Gaming. So will Neesmore. So will SDR Dramora. So a bunch of drivers all electing to jump in, trying to offset their strategy a little bit. A big thing that happened in the spring race here, well, not the spring race, but the early season race here, is that drivers would jump in just so they would be off strategy to the other cars on track. So you would have 2 to 3 different sequences of cars all leaping the lead back and forth between each other because you just couldn't get any long green flag runs. The hope is that we can actually get some proper green flag runs in today's event. But if that is not the case, then these drivers, Prius, Dino, NFL, Amish, Kuro, Neesmorph, and Dramora, they are prepared for that inevitability of endless yellows, and they are setting themselves up to be at the head of the field when they want to be. Pace car already scooting away. It is going to be Jack Broseph, Scored Buffalo, and Dr. Ice, who will be leading the top 3 as they come to the green flag here once again into the restart zone once more. You can hear them accelerate now. It looks like Jack Broseph and Scored Buffalo had a relatively solid start. The top 3 are going to pull away easily on Thomas. In fact, Thomas falls almost an entire second behind the leaders just by the time they get into turn 1. Buffalo pulls up behind Jack Broseph. He ducks to the inside. Dead heat. Tail to tail, nose to nose as they go down into turn 3, and on the inside, Buffalo shoots to the lead. Jack Broseph is going to have to fall back in line behind Scored Buffalo. Now they head down the front straightaway again. Nose to tail once more. Does Jack try to make a big dive? No, he's content to run right behind Scored Buffalo for the moment. Naito moves up ahead of Thomas back there for 4th position. Dino, of all the drivers who have pitted, Dino's already moved up into 7th spot, but look at that gaggle of cars in the midfield though. 2 and 3 wide through the entire field. That's NFL Racer and Amish Gaming trying to go by Tony Monkey there. Remember, Amish is fighting to secure 3rd in the Drivers' Championship, and he needs a good finish today in order to do that. Tony Monkey's just here more for the fun of it. Doesn't have a big championship fight he's in the middle of fighting with. Here's Maybe Racing. Maybe qualified up near the front of the grid, but fell down the order. We believe he was running a harder tire compound. He has solidified his position in 4th right now, just ahead of Naito Gamer and Thomas 086R at the moment. And at the lead, still nose to tail, it is Scored Buffalo and Jack Broseph. Nose to tail at the head of the field, pulling about 9/10 on 3rd place, Dr. Ice at the moment, while Maybe Racing tries to keep Naito Gamer and Thomas 086R behind. Then Dino is back there in 7th, trying to hold off a gigantic pack of cars back there. All right, that is Thomas, who's gotten to the inside of Maybe in that number 8 machine. Now they're going to make it 3 wide as they go down the back straightaway. Someone has to back out of it. And it's going to be Maybe. Maybe says, fine, you two can have it. And in the process, that is Naito who ends up washing out into the outside wall. He's going to bleed off a bunch of time in the process. Doesn't look like he's damaged. He'll be able to continue, but he's going to fall to the rear of the grid in the process. So Dino now cycles up into 6th. Maybe is going to solidify in 5th position, running right behind Thomas at the moment. Dr. Ice continues to run no man's land, and someone has hit the inside wall there. Who was that? That looked like it was King Racing Leo. He's moving, but that car is absolutely destroyed, but he is creeping his way down the pit lane entry, so we might be able to stay green for the moment. So the field really spreading out now. But at the front, Jack and Scored Buffalo run right on top of each other. Scored Buffalo has a heavy fuel load. Jack Broseph has a lighter fuel load. This means that Jack should be a little faster, but Scored Buffalo is going to end up having the ability to stay out on track for a little bit longer. Of course, the question is going to be, what can he do with the tires? And we may have had an incident here. There are 3 cars absolutely destroyed here. Coming out of turn number 4, that is Neesmorph, that is Amish Gaming, and Pointy Scroll. And that is great news for King Racing Leo. They'll get a lap back here. Amish Gaming involved in another incident early on, and it seems like despite the changes made, you can't change the fact that overall, these drivers do not seem to be very confident with the ability of their cars to handle. So we are under our 2nd yellow flag of the day, only 22 laps into the event here. And Neesmorph, Amish Gaming, and Pointy Scroll all lose another lap in the process here. So as we are back under the yellow flag for a 3-car incident back there, real quick, let's look at the fuel and tires of our leaders. Jack Broseph, he has 31% left in the tank. His tires, though, 47% wear. So if he stays out, he's only going to be able to stay out for about 5 more laps before his tires start falling off. Scored Buffalo, 34% in the tank. His tires are just slightly better, but not enough to give him an entire extra lap. Dr. Ice, who's in third, his tires are way better than the 2 ahead, but he only has 18% left in the fuel tank. Maybe Racing, who is in fourth, your champion for the season, he has 28.5% in the fuel tank, but his tires have almost no wear on them. Maybe will likely inherit the lead simply by virtue of running on harder tires. He's not burning up the tires. This is going to come to him. And then you have Thomas 086. Nope. And it looks like several drivers are pitting. Jack Broseph and Scored Buffalo want to stay out, but Dr. Ice, Maybe Racing, Thomas is going to pit, Curlshine is going to pit, Tony Monkey, Nitro Gamer, and SDR Dramora are all going to pit here at Miami under this second yellow flag of the day. So for the moment, you see our top 7 drivers: Jack, Buffalo, Dino, Prius, NFL, Front Meter, and Pindaz. They all have stayed out on the track, but everyone else has gone ahead, jumped into the pits to get onto a new set of tires here. For Maybe Racing, this could get really interesting because maybe now has to make ground up, but they were on medium tires for the start of the race, betting on long green flag runs. That has not worked out in their favor. So now they're going to be on soft tires and will be able to actually fight their way up the grid. The cars on the outside line, those are cars that are all a lap down. We anticipate that they will be allowed to rush around the track real quickly, catch the rear of the grid to get a lap back if they have not pitted under this yellow. Okay, so this should be, in theory, where we see the back of the field rush around to get a lap back. But it might not be the case. It may be that because all of these drivers were involved in an accident that brought out the yellow, they will not get their lap back for now. So they will all stay a lap down for the moment. And this puts Amish Game and his hopes for securing third in the championship in rough position right now. But if we're going to keep having yellow flags throughout the entire event, it may not matter. We'll want to keep a look on Keen Racing Leo and Pointy Scroll, considering that those two seem to have been in most of our instance thus far. Our pace car is rushing off again, so we're going to come back to the green flag here on lap 25 at Homestead, Miami. Nose to tail through the field. Jack Broseph. He's on old tires, but he's the one who gets to control when they say go. And behind him will be Dino Prime, who has fresher tires but heavier fuel load. They accelerate, and we are underway once more here at Homestead, Miami. All right, you can see Scored Buffalo runs in Jack Broseff's draft, a bit of an inversion of what we saw earlier. Onto the back straightaway. This is where Buffalo made the move last time. Is he going to try for it again this time? Top 3 have done a nice job pulling away from the rest of the field here early on. Jack ran just a little high. It gives Scored Buffalo a little bit of clean air on the left front wing. But he's not making the move on Jack, at least not now. Dino content to run behind this duo for the moment. Real quick, Maybe Racing, who was first of everyone who pitted, he goes to the extreme inside. He's going to make it a 3-wide overtake. And Maybe is going to go up to the 7th, might even move up into the 6th position. So Maybe is absolutely flying on the track all over again here. Now Maybe looks to the inside of NFL Racer side by side, and he's going to clear NFL Racer. So Maybe your series champion, by far the best driver when it comes to the setup that this series has had. Been very comfortable. He already is looking to the inside of Prius Killer, disposes of him without even the slightest hint of an issue. He's already running down our lead trio of Jack, Scored Buffalo, and Dino. Now, mind you, he's got fresher tires than them, but he's just generally so much faster and so much more confident in the car. And if you doubt Maybe's ability, remember at the flat, well, not truly flat, but mostly flat, 1 mile over at Eagle Rock, Maybe Racing put the entire field a lap down. everybody was a lap down. Oh, an NFL racer comes fighting back against Maybe, is not going to let him get away. It's going to be a drag race between these two, and they're fighting for fourth position. Neck and neck as they head down into turns 1 and 2, and it looks like that large machine, they make a little bit of contact again. They're bobbling all over the place. That's Dr. Ice who's coming back into the fray as well. So Maybe suddenly finds his forward momentum stalled. He has an entire pack of cars he's fighting with. Again, side by side with Dr. Ice. And NFL, they run them all the way up the track. For now, Maybe holds station. They are 3 wide behind Maybe, and NFL dives to the inside again. This time, Maybe cuts him off. Tony Monkey coming into the pits farther back in the field. We're not sure what's happened there, but that will put him a lap down now. And as another car rushes into the pits, it looks like that's Scored Buffalo, who's pitting out of the lead of the field. So Jack Broseph now inherits the lead, but his tires already at 66% wear, and he has a little bit of engine damage as well. That's not going to help, but he's going to want to be pitting very shortly here. I think with that giant swerve to the infield, I think he's showing his indication he wants to pit this time. Dino has bled off a bunch of time. We're not sure what's happened here. Jack into the pits now, so now Maybe has taken the lead as Dino has lost a huge chunk of time. Story of the entire season, Dino losing big chunks of time to Maybe. So now it is Maybe and Dino, first and second in the championship, running first and second on the race. Dino looks to the inside, but does not have the confidence in the car to take the fight right to Maybe here. Dr. Ice now runs in third all over again. And now we're starting to have a different 3-car breakaway here at the head of the field. We went green on lap 26. Could this be our longest green flag run yet? We're not sure, but the field is starting to spread out just a little bit now. Drivers who had not pitted already have now made their stops, and now we're starting to see a lot of strategies overlapping and going in different directions. Maybe who is on the freshest tires of the field, though, I have a feeling that with the speed he is showing right now, he could be on any strategy, and just like what we saw at Eagle Rock, he could walk off with an easy victory here unless something wild happens. Again, I've been wrong before. Earlier today in the real-life IndyCar race, one driver dominated the majority of the event, led most of the laps early, and still ended up losing the event there in the last 30 laps. So stranger things have happened. Now we see Dr. Ice working his way by Dino. Dino is now just continuing to slowly bleed off time. He's been on these tires for about 20 or so laps. You can see while he's got plenty of fuel in the tank, he's already at the 56% tire wear mark. You look at Maybe Racing, who is currently leading on track. He is at the 32% wear mark. He's only got 14% left in the tank. If anyone has a medium set of tires on right now, they could be in a fantastic position. I don't know if you saw that in the corner there, but Dino Prime was completely out of control, sideways, 30-degree tail out, and he brought it into the pit somehow, but he'll be the next one to go a lap down here. So Maybe Racing now leads with Dr. Ice right behind. Dr. Ice now brings the fight to the inside of Maybe Racing. These are the two who qualified at the top of the field, and Dr. Ice on the inside is going to go back to the lead here at Miami. Dr. Ice trying to put the freeze on the field. He has cleared Maybe just for the moment. This duo has a lead of over a second and a half, almost 2 full seconds over third place right now. Of everyone who has already made a pit stop, it looks like Amish Gaming. No, that's not Amish. It would be Dino who would be ahead of them all for now. Although Dino's not up to full song yet. Farther down the order, Dramora is at the tail end of the lead lap, but he'll likely have to pit sooner rather than later. Now we're seeing Maybe actually starting to lose ground to Dr. Ice here. Real quickly, of everyone who has already made their stops, it looks like Scored Buffalo is setting himself up to be in the best position right now. He is several seconds ahead of Jack Broseph, and Jack is running even with Dino Prime 77 right now. So Dino can go a little bit deeper into the runs, but it seems like he just does not have the ability to keep the car under him as well as the tires fall off. That has been his biggest struggle the entire season. He's won poles on both ovals and road courses this year, but he has just not been able to maintain pace in the car over a full fuel or tire run. Front Meteor is going to pit now out of the 4th position. We are in our longest green flag run of the day thus far. We have gone 15 laps under green flag conditions. Maybe Racing continues to follow Dr. Ice, but is no longer actively leading, no longer taking the fight to him. That was interesting there. That was a lap car letting them go. Front Meteor ducks into the pits, and he will go a lap down now. So now we are down to just 8 drivers left on the lead lap. All these drivers still out here. These are drivers who pitted under the last yellow flag. So for now, they're going to have a significant advantage over the rest of the field. Question is, how long is it going to stay? Our longest green flag run in the first Miami race here was 20 laps. We've eclipsed 17 right now. Maybe Racing and Dr. Ice continue to jockey back and forth at the head of the field. Scored Buffalo is pitting again already incredibly early compared to when we thought. Has something gone wrong? Oh, he's not putting enough fuel in. He was betting on a yellow flag coming shortly afterwards, and it's not happened. So Scored Buffalo betting on an early yellow is now going to end up going 2 laps down, and Maybe Racing is going to pit out of second position. So Maybe is going to pit, and Dr. Ice now inherits the lead. A lead that now extends to 3.8 seconds over your current second place driver, Thomas 086. And we're also seeing Maybe Racing still in the pits right now. And now here comes Dr. Ice into the pits. So Dr. Ice is going to pit this time. So this will cycle Thomas 086R into the race lead. There'll be a little bit of time before Maybe goes a lap down, and now he officially goes a lap down, but we want to see the fight between Maybe Racing and Dr. Ice. Between those two, where are they going to end up in relation to each other, and where will they end up in relation to Dino Prime and Jack Broseph? We're watching Maybe as he has just come out of pit lane. Dino is way down the order, about an entire straightaway behind Maybe, so obviously Maybe is in great position against Dino and Front Meteor. Someone is slowed down the front straightaway. What is going on there? Naito Gamer is slow. Is there damage? Oh, that car is destroyed. Every corner on that car is destroyed. And that might bring us under the yellow flag here. Yes, we are under the yellow flag now at Miami, I believe. So a big single car accident by one of the few drivers who were able to stay out for so long. And just like before, it seems like 20 laps is the farthest we can go under green flag conditions. But now we only have 5 drivers left on the lead lap. We're going to take a quick ad break. We'll be back momentarily, ladies and gentlemen, here at Miami. We'll be back shortly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Miami. We are under the yellow flag for the 3rd time today. Only 5 drivers are on the lead lap. We're anticipating to see all of them pit this time, and that will put everyone from 6th down to 18th in a position where they will all gain 1 lap back, we believe. The big thing, though, between the 2 drivers who should be fighting for the overall race win, it looks like it's going to be Dr. Ice and Maybe Racing. They are at the head of this lapped pack of cars, and now we see everyone's going to go by to get 1 lap back here. But Thomas, Prius Killer, NFL Racer, Kuro Shine, and SDR Dremora, they will be the 5 that should still be given the lead back, from my understanding. So they will inherit the lead back after this is done. There are 2 drivers, one driver, that is Naito, who has not rushed around, it seems. So that is likely because Naito had to pit to repair damage under this yellow flag. You see Tony Monkey will go ahead and pit, so he's going to likely end up staying a lap down. He's going to stay 1 lap down, but the rest of the field is all going to line up behind our top 5. So Thomas will still have the lead. He's basically an entire pit stop ahead of most of the rest of the field. Then you'll have NFL Racer second, Prius in third. Well, Kuroshine, we don't know what's going on here. We're not sure why Kuroshine is rushing off now. There may be some sort of hiccup when it comes to figuring out where everyone is, and now Kuroshine's ducking into the pits. And so is Dremora. So Kuroshine and Dremora are pitting, but NFL Racer is going to stay out. Prius is going to stay out. So suddenly, Thomas stays out, NFL stays out, Prius stays out, so those three pitted already, and they're going to stay at the head of the field. Dremora and Kuroshine have pitted twice under this caution, though, and that's going to cycle them to the rear of the grid. But Dr. Ice is now going to be 4th, and then it looks like Fraught Meteor is going to be 5th in between Dr. Ice and Maybe Racing. We're not quite sure how that happened. Then Dino will be 7th. Amish will be 8th. For Scored Buffalo, he is now the first driver, 1 lap down. So his race is not completely derailed, but it's not in a great position yet. All right, so the field's just about all gathered up, but I don't know if they're ordered properly. It seems like there are still several drivers who do not know where they're supposed to be in this order. But it does look like our top 5 are locked in position. We're not sure why Kuroshine or SDR Dremora went ahead and made a second pit stop, but they've thrown away valuable track position in the process. So we should be going green on the start of lap 51. We are a third of the way through the race, and now the lights have come on here at Homestead, Miami. Okay, now our pace car is pulling away. We watched NFL Racer, who's going to be second in line. Thomas is first. NFL trying to end off his up and down season on a high note. Thomas would love to steal a win here, but they've got Dr. Rice in 4th. Prius in 3rd. Prius has been a proven winner. Dr. Rice is the pole sitter. And then your series champion, Maybe Racing, is back there in 6th. As the field's coming back to the green flag here, they accelerate. It was not the most even start we've ever seen. And SDR Dremora seems to have dropped out. Something has gone wrong with Dremora just when he was fighting for a top 5. So now we're down to just 17 cars on track. Thomas leads, NFL second, Prius third, and it looks like they've pulled, along with Dr. Ice, a little bit of a gap on 5th, but already Maybe Racing is going to the inside, and it looks like they are aborting the start. So that is going to be classified as an aborted start. They're lining up to do this again now. No signs of anyone being damaged. It looks like they're just going to gather it all up for another attempt at a restart here. So a guess is that they're saying that Thomas jumped to the restart zone. Kuroshine's going to jump into the pits under this yellow. So will Tony Monkey and Pointy Scroll. Mind you, Kuro's already at the back of the lead group. Tony Monkey was already a lap down. Pointy Scroll was 2 laps down. So now, if there's another yellow flag shortly afterwards, they'll get their laps back. Not sure how long this yellow flag is going to take, because it shouldn't be that hard to gather the field up, but now that drivers have pitted, it may take significantly longer than anticipated. So drivers on the extreme outside, it looks like they're going to give those drivers on the outside a chance to get a lap back, I imagine. So they are treating this not as an aborted start, but as a full restart, it would appear. Pit road opens, and we see several drivers at the back of the grid. Jack Broseph, Neesmorth, and Pindaz, they're all going to go ahead and jump into the pits now. And we're going to see several drivers get back onto the lead lap. Of note, Scored Buffalo will now cycle back into the lead of this race. So Jack Broseph, who was one of the drivers at the head of the field early on, now going to be a little bit ahead of everyone ahead on track in the top 9 positions. He'll be ahead of them on fuel numbers, and his tire numbers will be looking good also. Real quick, let's look at the fuel and tire numbers for our leaders. We didn't go very long under green. That is Dr. Ice, who is slow. No, that's not Dr. Ice. Who is that? What is going on there? That is Tony Monkey. He's still a lap down. He'll fall at the back of the grid. Okay, so it looks like we have 13 drivers on the lead lap. Naito is back to being only 1 lap down. King Racing Leo is only 1 lap down. Tony Monkey is only 1 lap down. And then Pony Scroll is still 2 laps down at the moment. So we should go green this time by. I'm not sure why they treated that aborted start as if it was a proper restart. All right, pace car runs off. So we have ran roughly 9 of the last 10 laps under caution, but maybe we can get back under some proper racing once more here at Miami. It's a bit over a third of the way through the event. NFL racer is holding back. He's really holding back. It's let Prius get alongside, and they're off. NFL actually had a relatively good restart there. Keeps Prius behind, but Thomas has opened up a gap on second for the moment. Already maybe racing in 6th, setting his sights on Fraught Meteor there. Looks to the inside. Should be a pretty cut and dry overtake, and yes it is. Maybe Racing now goes back up into 5th spot. NFL Racer trying to make a move on Thomas side by side, and it looks like NFL will now go to the lead without too much issue here. That is Dr. Ice, who's going to try and follow suit. Something's happened to Prius to cause him to hit the outside wall. He's going to drop several positions now. NFL leads. Thomas. And there's NFL into the outside wall now. I don't know if he's been damaged or not. No damage. He'll be able to continue, but he bled off a significant amount of speed in the process. So now it is Dr. Ice who is your leader. Thomas is second. And here comes Maybe Racing all over again down to the inside. A little bit of contact farther back there between teammates Prius and Dino as Prius is trying to make his way back up through the grid. Maybe he's already back up at the second. Thomas slips to third. So we're back to it being the Maybe Racing and Dr. Ice show here at the head of the field at Miami. Oh, is that someone who's hit the wall there? It looked like someone smacked the wall there. And if it was, it would have been this driver here, Pointy Scroll. No damage, he continues, but it looks like he pounded the wall. King Racing Leo jumping into the pits. So that will put him 2 laps down now. Maybe he runs right behind Dr. Ice here. Look at that gaggle of cars here in the middle of the field. That's about 8 cars, 7 cars all on top of each other. That's Kuroshine who slaps the outside wall. He's going to lose touch with that big pack there. Amish Gaming, who was a lap down earlier, is now recovered and is up into 5th, leading this giant pack of cars. Right on board with Jack Broseph at the tail end of this pack. Look, it just feels like there's no room, it seems. Every time they go into the corners, everyone fans out. Everyone's trying to get a good balance of draft and clean air, and just everyone feels like there's nowhere to go. There goes NFL Racer trying to recover after he slipped onto the outside wall earlier. Dino leads this big group. No, it's Pindaz who's leading this big group for the moment, with Dino second in the group and then Amish in third. Dr. Ice Maybe Racing continue to lead nose to tail at the head of the grid right now. This is where the biggest amount of action is on circuit. That is Neesmorph trying to come around the extreme outside there. So Jack gradually seems to be bleeding off positions in the back of this big pack of cars. side by side there between NFL and Prius. Oh, and that's a round. And that's NFL Racer. Is the car damaged? Heavily. Every corner on that car is destroyed, and you were right on board when that happened. And that will put us back under the yellow flag. We didn't even go 10 laps under green this time. So we go under the yellow. We'll be back shortly here at Homestead, Miami, under our 6th caution of the night. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you back here to Homestead, Miami. And it looks like almost our entire lead pack, with 2 exceptions being Pindaz and Curlshine, are going to pit under this yellow flag. And we'll also see Tony Monkey get back onto the lead lap. So will Naito Gamer. NFL Racer is not going to get a lap back, though. Pointy Stroll should get a lap back, and Keen Racing Leo will get one of their laps back. But out of all the drivers who jumped into the pits under this yellow, it looks like it is Dr. Ice who will maintain his lead over this group of cars, followed by Maybe Racing, Fraught Meteor, Thomas 086, Scored Buffalo, who is crawling his way back up the grid, then Prius Killer, Dino Prime, Jack Broseph, Amish Gaming, and Neesmorph. And now we see Tony Monkey and Naito Gamer pit now. So it will be Pindaz, who is fighting for 5th in Series Championship. He is now going to be your leader, with Curlshine right behind, and Dr. Ice will be 3rd. So for Dr. Ice, this should be really simple, cut and dry. Just get by the 2 drivers ahead. The big problem for Dr. Ice is that Maybe Racing is right there. Maybe and Dr. Ice seem to be equals. This race does not seem to be as randomly generated as the one that was earlier in the season. Earlier in the season, there was no driver who really seemed to have a good pace advantage because we kept having so many yellows, we couldn't tell who had good pace. Here, it is very clear in this event that Dr. Ice and Maybe Racing are the class of the field. They are way faster than everyone else here. No one's going to be able to fight them off in any kind of battle in this event. So as long as Dr. Ice and Maybe are right on top of each other on track like this, this race could go in either direction between the 2 of them. Everyone else just seems to be fighting for 3rd. But if the yellow flags fall in a strange way coming to the end of this race, you could see different drivers ending up near the head of this grid. Pace cars run off. So we're going to restart here on lap 68. Still not yet halfway through the event. All right, and we are off. Pindaz series host had the best launch we have seen thus far. I'm shocked that that wasn't considered a jump. Dr. Ice immediately goes and tries to pass around the outside of Kuroshine. Neck and neck between the two of them, and he powers by on the outside. Dr. Ice to the top. Maybe Racing runs now in fourth. He's going to have to figure out a way by Kuroshine. He's going to take the tighter inside line. Looks like it will be slightly longer for him. And finally, he completes the overtake on Kuroshine. Kuro's going to go back to the inside of Maybe, though, trying to make it a little bit hard. He slips up wide. He's going to squeeze Maybe on corner exit of turn 2. Still side by side between the two of them, and Dr. Ice is already making a move. They are far wide, farther back in the field. And Dr. Ice goes into the lead now. Maybe slaps the outside wall. He's not going to bleed a huge chunk of time, but he's going to fall back to fourth. Pindaz leads still over Dr. Ice, so the top 4 all on top of each other. Kuro trying to wrap around the outside to stay ahead of Maybe. Dr. Ice going to try and go around the outside of Pindaz. And Dr. Ice goes to the lead. Dr. Ice once again going to try and put a freeze on the field here. Rear of the grid seems to be a little bit more spread out now. But at the front, Maybe has gotten by Kuroshine. Now he has to dispose of Pindaz. He dives to the inside, side by side, neck and neck, into turn 3. No issue there. Maybe had a superior entry line by far. And Maybe inherits the race lead. Dr. Ice leads. Maybe is back in second, only about a third of a second behind our leader. Farther back, Prius Killer, who was up at the front earlier but does not seem to be able to make the strategy work out well. He runs in 6th at the moment. As Kuroshine, who's walked up the track farther up the grid there, so has Pindaz. So everyone's really spreading out this time. We might actually see, depending on how spread out this gets, we might see a nice long strategy battle play out here. Right on board Naito, as you can see, Amish, Jack Broseph, and Dino all in a slugfest there just up the road. Nearly 3 wide between them all. And at the head, Dr. Ice now has Maybe Racing tucked up behind him just a little bit, although Maybe's bled off a bit of time that time. Let's see how long these two can stay out on track. They pitted at the same time. 44% left in the tank for Dr. Ice. For Maybe Racing, he has 44% in the tank as well. So they are even when it comes to that. Dino has hit the wall. And that is not the only one. That is someone else. That is Front Meteor, I think, who has spun to the inside. It looked like Dino hit the outside wall. And then Front Meteor tried to avoid and ended up spinning into the infield in the process. We're under green still for the moment. Now the yellow comes out. And that will be our 7th caution of the night. So Dr. Ice and Maybe Racing are not having a long, drawn-out duel. It's more like a series of small, short fights. And if the race continues as it is, we're not really going to know who between the two of these are going to be in the best position going forward. Okay, so Front Meteor in the pits now. So Pointy Scroll, NFL Racer, and Keen Racing Leo will likely all get a chance to get back onto the lead lap here under this yellow. We're going to go ahead and knock out an ad break. We'll be back shortly here at Homestead, Miami. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Homestead, Miami. Our top 5 drivers, our top 6 drivers have all elected to stay out. So Dr. Ice holds the lead with Prius Killer, Thomas 086R, Scored Buffalo, Jack Broseph, and Crowshine behind. Maybe Racing led a contingency of other drivers who all elected to jump down pit lane under this yellow flag. So he has given up track position to end up ahead on the fuel and tire battle. We have not had a green flag run longer than 20 laps today. Although we were setting up for some interesting strategy battles, but drivers have not been able to keep their cars clean for more than 20 laps. So because of that, this entire race just comes down to, by the looks of it, drivers trying to map out, okay, if we're averaging a yellow flag every 10 to 12 laps, when can we pit? So that way we can run the 10 to 12 laps, gain as much track position as possible, and then pit into the next yellow so we're just constantly ahead of the 8 ball. Because we're just not seeing the field being allowed to spread out. The yellow flags keep everybody nice and bunched up here. There is no real strategy outside of min-maxing your fuel and tire wear to go as fast as you can for the short burst of green flag running we have. Pace car has rushed off. The entire field is on the lead lap except for Fraught Meteor, who was involved in that most recent accident. So 16 drivers on the lead lap, but realistically this is a fight just between Dr. Ice, who will be restarting in the front, and maybe Racing, who is restarting in 7th. And the green is out once again. Prius did not get going whatsoever, and Dr. Ice is going to open a little bit of a gap here right out the gate. What about Maybe? How soon will it take for Maybe to move up the grid? No big moves yet, but they're tucked up behind Crowshine. Crowshine put a big fight on Maybe last time these two were on top of each other. Crow leaves the inside open for Maybe. Maybe doesn't have the greatest run through 3 and 4. Dr. Ice is skewed away about a third of a second ahead of second place. Crowshine goes to the inside of Jack Broseph. Jack's going to cut down on front of Maybe. Maybe looks inside. He's going to look really far inside. Can't stick it there. Yeah, but he'll let the other two wash themselves up track there. And that's a car into the outside wall. That was Pendaz who went into the outside wall there. And Niesmorph, I think, was involved as well. Pendaz continues. What of Niesmorph? Is there any damage on his car? Yes, Niesmorph's car is destroyed. I'm curious to see if that will bring out a yellow or not. Top 4 all still on top of each other. Prius, Dr. Ice, Thomas, and Scored Buffalo. Dr. Ice goes to the inside. Prius is on the outside. Neck and neck between the two of them. Prius won the Indy race earlier in the season. He knows how to win on these ovals. Dr. Ice, though, may be the fastest driver on track. Niesmorph has made it into the pit lane, so I guess we're going to stay green for a little longer now. Nose to tail for the top 3. Prius, Dr. Ice, and Thomas. Scored Buffalo has fallen off of this trio just a bit. Maybe Racing has stabilized in 5th position. Jack's going to scoop by Amish farther back in the grid. He's trying to recover now after Maybe got by him. Prius leads. Dr. Ice content to run in 2nd right now. Probably just trying to save fuel. A bigger fuel tank means that while you will be slower, a heavier fuel tank I should say, a more full fuel tank means that while you will be slower on track, it gives you a lot more flexibility on when you choose to pit. You could pit as late as you want. If we have a really long green flag run, pitting later will be more beneficial because you can trap more drivers a lap down and screw over more drivers when it comes to strategy. Dr. Ice is not really trying to push the issue. 3 cars are very slow on the front straightaway. I'm not sure if they had an accident between them or if there was a visual glitch. It looks like there may have been some sort of visual glitch because the game seems to show that they are merging back onto the track normally as if they slowed down for some reason. So we're not sure what's happened there, but we are staying green right now. Now we are down to just 12 drivers left on the lead lap, though. Prius inside, Dr. Ice to the outside. Just about neck and neck. So now Dr. Ice trying to set up for something. He falls back in line behind Prius. Now those 3 cars that we saw slow earlier all make it into the pit. So I wonder if they were involved in an accident and the information was not communicated to the series officials, so we stay green because of that. Meanwhile, look at this giant pack of cars. 5 cars all in a little train here in the midfield. Led by Naito Gamer at the moment, with Amish Gaming, NFL Racer, Tony Monkey, all here in the middle of this. They are 3 wide at the back of this little pack now, and Amish will fall to last of these 5. Thomas has completely lost touch with Prius and Dr. Ice right now. Amish licks the outside wall just a little bit. He'll bleed off some time in the process there. Maybe his forward momentum seems to have stalled out. He is stuck in 4th now. But he might be on the set of harder tires. Maybe he knows something we don't. We are on a longer green flag run, and maybe is on what looks to be a harder set of tires, potentially. Trying to stay out longer and open up a strategy gap on the rest of the field. Thomas now pits out of 3rd, so he will go a lap down. Dr. Ice has finally cleared Prius, as Prius walks it into the outside wall. He's going to bleed off a huge chunk of time in the process. Now this duo had gotten pretty far away from maybe. But now Prius is going to be all by himself. He has no drafting help and will be under threat from maybe very shortly here, I would imagine. Remember, maybe pit into the last restart. Prius is not. So you look at Prius, 65% tire wear. You compare that to maybe, who's only in like the 35s right now, 39s right now. Maybe is absolutely going to destroy Prius here. So 11 drivers on the lead lap for now, but how long is that going to stay the case? Again, look at this pack of cars here in the midfield. Everyone running about in single file, nose to tail. And every now and then you'll see someone pop out of line to pit. Dr. Ice is now going to jump into the pits. So our race leader is going to come into the pits this time. So that will give the race lead to Maybe, as Prius has just lost his position to Maybe. And Prius is hemorrhaging time now. Did Prius miss the pit lane entry or something? He is absolutely bleeding time off like no one's business. He's coming in this time. So that will promote NFL Racer now up into the 2nd position on track. And Scored Buffalo is now cycled out to 3rd on circuit. But Buffalo's tires are burning up as well. He'll have to pit sooner rather than later also. But now, Maybe Racing, we believe he is on a harder compound set of tires. Not going to be hard enough for him to go endlessly. But he has now gone to the lead, and he's going to try and catch as many drivers a lap down as possible. Only 9 drivers left on the lead lap now. And Pendaz is close. Will be the first driver who is at risk of going a lap down on sheer merit. He has just not been able to do anything. His tires are just about cooked anyway. NFL Racer and Scored Buffalo continue to run really close to each other. And then you have this pack, Naito, Amish, Jack, all on top of each other, just a little bit behind them. They have a lapped car in the middle of their group as well. Our leader, Maybe Racing, has caught up to, I believe, that is Neesmorph. So Neesmorph will now go 3 laps down at this stage of the event. Almost 2/3 of the way through the run here at Homestead, Miami. Could this end up being our longest green flag run of the day? Maybe's tires are in the 55% wear mark now. NFL Racer, who runs in 2nd, his tires are at the 58%, and he's almost out of fuel. Scored Buffalo's been burning through his fuel fast. What of Amish here, who is running in 4th? He's at 58%. What about Naito, who is even farther down the grid? 61%. He surely will have to pit sooner rather than later. Here's Jack Broseph, who slaps the outside wall now. He's at 54% tire wear. So almost everyone's going to have to pit over the next 5 to 7 laps here just because of tire wear. And when you pit, you're going to have about 45 to 50 laps left in the event. You could, after you stop here, you could make it to the end on just one more stop. Amish will be the first to blink of our current lead lap group, and he'll be joined by Tony Monkey, so both of them will jump into the pits this time. Still, Maybe has yet to make their next stop. They have 10% left in the tank, but their tires are at 62% wear. Someone is slow on the outside wall there. Shoots into the pits. We're not sure who that was. Amish pits, Tony Monkey pits, Naito, NFL, and Scored Buffalo are all pitting this lap. Keen Racing Leo is pitting. He'll now go 4 laps down. Jack Broseph is going to cycle up into second on circuit. Jack has got 61% tire wear. This is Dino, who is now going to be third. Dino is at 63%. So these 3 leaders are all going to have to pit likely within the next 2 laps here. And they'll have about 45 laps to the end. That would be a soft if you're willing to deal with some bad tire fall off at the very end of your stints here. The last of these 3 drivers to pit will be in the best position to walk off with this win, and we are closing in on our longest green flag run yet this race. Dino now pits out of third. He can't go any farther. So he'll come out with 45 laps left, and maybe has slapped the outside wall there. And he's going to hemorrhage a bunch of time. He's in the 70% range when it comes to tire life. But Jack is not closing at all, because Jack is dealing with some significant tire fall off as well. Front Meteor is going to pit out fourth, and Jack Brosa finally jumps into the pits. Maybe is the only driver on the lead lap, and we saw this scenario happen at Eagle Rock earlier this season. It's happened again. Maybe Racing has put the entire field a lap down on an oval. He is at 73% wear. He still has some fuel in the tank, but is he going to pit this time or not? No, he's going to stay out another lap. Maybe he's going to stay out for another lap. These tires are absolutely destroyed, but he doesn't care. He has put the entire field a lap down. Dr. Rice is second of everyone who has made a stop. We are under our longest green flag run now. We have eclipsed 20 laps under the green flag. Maybe will surely pit this time, but he is so far ahead of everyone else, I don't think that Dr. Rice will be able to get the lead back for Maybe. And even if he does, he is behind when it comes to tire life. He is going to have to pit in about 10 laps. Dr. Rice is in a position when he pits, he'll have to put on mediums. Maybe we'll be able to come out, run another 20 laps, pit, come out, and run 20 laps again. Maybe Racing is going to put the entire field a lap down all over again. We saw this happen at Eagle Rock, and unless we have some yellow flags, the same thing is going to happen here today as well. Dr. Rice inherits the lead from Maybe. So Doctor has taken the lead from Maybe. Someone is flying. I don't know what happened there. It looked like Prius Killer was flying all over the circuit. I'm guessing that was a lag issue. But Dr. Ice now leads. NFL Racer is 4 seconds off of Dr. Ice right now. Thomas runs in third. And Jack Broseph, who was the second to last person to pit, he is, well, there is someone who is slow there. That looks like it may have been Front Meteor. Someone was really slow there. We're not under the yellow yet. We still stay green. Dr. Ice leads by just about 5 seconds over NFL Racer, but the big thing is that Maybe Racing is 8.5 seconds behind your leader, Dr. Ice. Everyone has to make one more stop to the end. The big question, though, is there anything that can be done? Because Maybe is able to go so much farther on his tires. No one else is able to match him. And now, because of that, Maybe is going to go likely soft to the end. Everyone else, except for maybe Jack Broseph and Dino, are going to have to put medium, harder compound tires on later on their final stop. So this is looking very, very bad for everybody, basically. I think Maybe is going to put the entire field a lap down here. About 39 laps left here at Homestead, Miami. Thomas 086 is going to pit out of the top 5. If you pit now, You could throw on medium tires and make them go to the end. Pointy Scroll is going to pit. In that fight for third, Amish Gaming runs fifth, and Dino is down in 10th. There is a possibility that Amish might steal second in points from Dino here, depending on how this turns out. Dr. Ice has now got a 5-second lead over Prius Killer. He's got a 9-second lead on Maybe Racing. But the Doctor is going to have to pit sooner rather than later. Already, he's only got about enough fuel for maybe 4 to 5 more laps, and that's with a little bit of lift and coast. Might be closer to 3 laps, honestly. So he's going to be pitting with about 35 laps to go. He'll have to throw on either medium tires or commit to another stop on top of this all. While he may be one of the fastest drivers here, you can't be fast enough to just outrun another pit stop. That's just not going to happen. Another driver slow going into turns 1 and 2 there. That is Neesmorph, who is now 4 laps down at this stage of the event. But he looks like he might be fueled up to go to the end of this race. But he slaps the outside wall, and now he's ducking into the pit, so he may have just taken damage in that instant there. Once more, we look at our race leader, Dr. Ice. Now, when he pits, it will briefly put Pindaz back onto the lead lap, but not for long, because Pindaz is relatively close to being caught by Maybe Racing, honestly. Well, he's almost going to get caught by Prius. Here's Prius, who runs in second on circuit right now. He is at 56%. Now, he has a little bit more fuel in the tank. He can go a little deeper if he absolutely must. But it still looks like when he stops, he'll have to throw on medium tires. Maybe Racing continues to run in the 3rd position. And now that we know that Maybe is willing to go until his tires are at 75% wear, there's just nothing you're going to be able to do to stop him unless there's a yellow flag, and even then, Maybe has been able to fight everybody on track for a position and beat all of them without issue except Dr. Ice. Doctor now pits out of the lead. The lead of the race will go to Prius Killer, who is trying to stretch his fuel numbers and tire life a little deeper to make something of it. Dr. Ice is going to have to go about 32 laps on whatever set of tires and fuel he puts into the car here. NFL Racer is now cycled up into 3rd, and Maybe is now closing the gap down between themselves and Prius. NFL, right now, we look at their numbers. They're at 43% in the tire life. We got 14% in the tank. Real quickly, I do want to look at Jack Broseph, who outside of Maybe is likely the only other driver who can make it on just softs to the end. But he is buried back here in 8th position. He is able to go really far on these tires, but he bleeds off performance, something nasty. Reminder, Jack is in a fight to try and maintain 4th in points, and he would love to steal 3rd from Amish, depending on how that goes. Now Prius Killer pits out of the lead, so Maybe Racing will re-inherit the lead once more. We are under our longest green flag run of the day. NFL Racer only about half a second behind Maybe, but NFL has not been able to make anything of these more worn tires. We are now looking at a scenario where Dr. Ice has completed his pit stop, and he is actually still on the lead lap somehow. So Dr. Ice is fast enough. He's not gone a lap down yet. The question is, does he have the pace and the tires to do anything to Maybe? Because we know that Maybe will pit. And Maybe will likely fall back to where Dr. Ice is, if not a little bit farther back. But then Maybe will be on fresher tires and a really light fuel load. We might see these two fighting for a position. Dr. Ice may have put together some good enough laps that he can fight for this overall win. The driver right behind the Doctor on track is Maybe Racing, your leader. Maybe has to try and run down Dr. Ice and put the Doctor a lap down, and do it now. Jack Broseph is still 12 seconds off of Maybe right now. Dino pitted a lap earlier than Jack, but is 3 seconds behind him. And Amish runs in 3rd right now on his own strategy. This could really shake up the points from 3rd on back. Dino is not setting up for a good result, and Amish could steal another podium position here, and that kind of performance could launch Amish ahead of Dino in the points. And that could give second in points to Amish, which would be incredible if he makes that happen. About 26 laps left in the event. Maybe Racing. His tires are still good for now. He still has good pace at the moment, but he's going to start losing pace shortly here. When does he make his next stop? 25 laps left in the event. And a set of tires can last about 20, so maybe he doesn't necessarily have to push to the 70% wear mark again like he did earlier. But NFL is now closing back down on maybe. NFL might try to put some sort of fight down. No, NFL is pitting this time by. So NFL is going to pit out of second position. And doing that with 25 laps left, I imagine he'll throw on a set of sauce. He'll be dealing with some tire fall off near the very end, but that will be his last stop of the day. Pindaz makes a stop now. Scored Buffalo now moves up into what is second on the circuit. Buffalo has been fast when he's been in clean air, but he has not been able to make the strategy work, and on driver fighting, he has just not been good. He's got great lap times, but he's just not been in good position when it comes to his strategy calls. Dr. Ice has gone into the outside wall. And he is slowing. Are we under the yellow? We're under caution with less than 25 laps to go, and we have a yellow flag here at Homestead, Miami. And this is going to randomize the field a bit, I would imagine. I don't know if Dr. Ice was still on the lead lap or not, but only a few drivers are going to be on the lead lap, and everyone's likely going to pit to throw on new tires. All right, we're going to knock out an ad break here, the last of the day, and when we come back, we will be at this race on the run to the end, as everything has gone pear-shaped here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Well, Buffalo's going to have a really short stop because he's not going to have to put very much fuel in the tank. Same with Jack. Same with Dino. Yeah, maybe might lose the lead here under the pit cycle because he has to put more fuel in the tank, and that's going to keep him in the box a lot longer. All right, here we go. And that's everyone pitting as we anticipated. You can make the tires last to the end. All right, moment of truth, folks. Oh, that's Buffalo ahead of him. Yeah, maybe lost a few positions there. He's behind Buffalo, Broseph, and Naito. No, maybe not Naito. But he's behind Broseph and Buffalo. And now everyone else pits. Except for Tony and Amish. What is going on there? Why did they not pit? Had they just pitted? Oh, they had just pitted before the yellow. Okay, that explains it. But they're still they were a lap behind, so it doesn't matter. So they're still going to be back there. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Homestead Miami Speedway. Final pit stops are done, and Maybe Racing had a slow stop because they had to actually fill that car full of fuel. And in the process, Scored Buffalo has leapfrogged him into the lead, and Jack Broseph has gone up into second. For Dr. Ice, the only driver who has been maybe equal today, he is back here in sixth, so he has to not only try and catch Maybe, he has to get by several drivers just to get to Maybe, and then pass several more drivers. I think this is Scored Buffalo and Jack Broseph's best chance to fight for a win, obviously. They have been two stronger drivers, but mano y mano, Maybe has been a cut above them both today. Buffalo has had good pace, but he's not been the best fighting here on the oval. maybe is going to put the screws to him. And then Jack Broseph could be the real wild card. Remember, Jack is in the middle of that big fight for what is third in driver's points right now. Also, reminder, Dino is second in points, and Amish is third in points. If Amish is way ahead of Dino at the end of this, he might still be able to steal second in points from Dino. We'll keep an eye on that, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen now that we've had this late race YOLO. All right, so now 12 drivers are all in the lead lap. Pindaz is the first driver, a lap down. Pace car is off. We should be going green this time. But Scored is waiting. Scored is really waiting. And we're not going to go green this time. So Scored elected not to go green this circuit. So we'll have to go green next time. So we'll be going green with 19 laps to go here. So everyone on the soft tires, it should be literally everyone, are definitely going to feel some tire fall off at the end, but they're not going to absolutely be dying. The only exceptions to that might be Tony Monkey and Amish Gaming. They pitted right before the yellow came out, so they have just a little bit of wear already on their rubber. I don't think it will be the worst thing ever, but if something happens at the very end of this race, it might be because of those two. Okay, so Scored Buffalo will lead the field to the green flag with 19 laps to go here. Jack Broseph has to be ready, has to be reactive, and they need to do everything they can to get rid of Maybe Racing and make sure that Maybe is nowhere near them. They've got the track position, but now they need to be able to fight him and keep him behind. We are underway once again at Miami, and Scored Buffalo had a good run. Jack did not optimize that, and Maybe is right there. Yeah, the top three are going to get a little bit of a spread between the three of them, but Scored is the one who really pulls away from Jack Broseph. Maybe is right there in Jack's draft now. Nito, fine with Dino, and Dr. Ice had a really bad start. He is still buried in sixth, nowhere near the two drivers in front of him. Fight for second. Here it comes. Jack Broseph, he's just barely got a draft off of Scored Buffalo, trying to use the draft to keep Maybe behind. Maybe goes to the inside. Jack's on the higher lane here. Not quite side by side. Jack holds on to second for the moment. Maybe is third. Scored continues to lead. Scored has won every race he has started this season, but those were only on the road courses. He has not attempted an oval. Is he going to try and steal an oval win at the very end of the season here? Maybe is still tucked up behind Jack. Dr. Ice moves into sixth. Our top three are gone from the rest of the field. And now Jack's trying to make something happen to the outside. Now the inside has Scored Buffalo. He goes to the inside. Neck and neck for a lead. And Jack goes to the lead. Scored Buffalo trapped on the extreme outside line. Goes wide. He slaps the outside wall just a little bit. Bleeds off a bit of time. He'll fall to third. Maybe Racing now up into second. Jack Broseph is your leader now. Dr. Ice is nowhere close to this group. It looks like he is not going to be in contention for this win. It looks like it's just going to be a matter of if Jack Broseph can do the impossible and keep Maybe Racing behind. 15 to go when they hit the line. Maybe looks to the inside again. Jack cuts down. Scored Buffalo now tries to get by Maybe. Nose to tail, down the back straightaway, into turns 3 and 4. There are so many different lanes to choose from, but not all of them are equal. For now, Jack holds the lead again. Maybe looking to the inside. Is this going to be the move? Maybe goes to the inside. Jack cuts down, coming out of turn 1. Maybe has to backpedal out of it, and now Scored Buffalo looks to the outside of Maybe. Maybe slides in front of him. Now Scored goes to Maybe's inside. Can't make it stick through there. Scored, slapped the outside wall there. Dr. Ice finally up in the fourth, but he is 2 seconds off of this trio fighting for the lead. Dr. Ice is trying to hold a glut of cars behind him. Jack, Maybe, side by side again now as they head down to turns 3 and 4. They make a little bit of contact. Maybe on the outside, washes wide, and now let's Scored Buffalo get back to his inside. 3 wide, farther back for position. Nose to tail for a top 3 once more. Jack has been very aggressive, but Maybe is coming on stronger and stronger as this is going on. He's trying to go to the inside here. And Maybe will get it, and Jack is going to fall from first to third and gets a pair of corners. Maybe takes the lead, and now here comes Scored Buffalo. Buffalo's turn at the front again. He got dives to the inside. He'll go back to the lead. Now Jack goes to the inside of Maybe. And Jack goes back to second. Jack looks, fakes a move to the inside of Scored. He looks to the outside. Does not commit to it, not this time. He's wide there out of 4. Scored leads, still. Now Jack looks to the outside again. Nothing that can be done there. Still nose to tail. But now Maybe is third in this group, and there's less than 10 laps to go. Is he waiting? Is he biding his time for a big move? Thomas is now hemorrhaging positions. It looks like he may have hit the wall out of turn 2. The top 3 have pulled more than 3 seconds away from the rest of the grid. Jack looking to the outside of Scored Buffalo. Outside overtakes going into the corners very rarely work here, but Jack's going to do the crossover. He dives to the inside, coming onto the back straightaway, side by side between our 2 leaders. As they come out of turn 4, flash by. It'll be 6 to go at the line. Scored still led at the line there. Jack trying to make something happen on the outside, but it's just not working, it seems. And now they're starting to pull away from Maybe just a bit. Has Maybe miscalculated? Has something gone wrong? He's starting to lose ground to our top 2. 5 to go. Jack closing in on Scored once again. Gets a tiny bit behind. Does he go to the inside? You have to make this overtake on the inside. You can't make it work on the outside. Not entering the corner at least. And now Maybe's caught their draft. Maybe's got to run. Now here comes Jack. He goes back to the inside. Side by side again. He slides wide. He squeezes Buffalo. Make contact. Buffalo very nearly goes to the outside wall. And Maybe's got to run on the ball. Maybe to the inside. And Maybe's going to go from third to first, potentially in a lap. Jack trying to hold it on the outside. He'll have a big run coming out, but Maybe's got the tighter inside line. Scored is running right behind Jack for the moment. Maybe's going to go deep into turns 1 and 2. Can't make a move. Jack cuts down on Maybe there. But Maybe's got a good run coming out of turn 2. He goes to the inside. Scored doesn't know which way to go. Here comes Maybe looking to the inside of Jack again. When they hit the line, it will be 3 laps to go this time, and any of these 3 could still win it. Jack leads. He has not yet won this season. Maybe and Scored have won multiple times this season. Maybe wants to put a bow on his championship. Scored wants to keep his perfect record of winning every race he starts. Jack is fighting for what could be second in points overall. Jack defends the inside aggressively. 2 laps to go. It'll be over in 3 miles. They're 3 wide as they head into turn 1 that time. And Scored Buffalo has a big run on the outside. Very abnormal, but Scored's got a big run on the outside. He cuts down. He's made the move, and Buffalo goes to the lead. And now Jack goes back by. Side by side as they come to the white flag. Jack leads at the white. Here comes Maybe. He's got a big run. He goes to the inside. He's side by side with Scored Buffalo again. Maybe he's setting himself up for a big run going into turn 3 and 4. Jack comes down. They're 3 wide coming into turn 3. Contact between all 3 of them. Scored is high. Maybe is low. Maybe's got a run on Scored. But does he have enough on Jack? Side by side at the line. I could not tell who it was. They're in a dead even 3 wide heat coming to the checkers. I think it may have been Jack. But if it was Jack, it would have been by the tiniest margin you could imagine. Front Meteor will come home in 4th. Prius Killer will come home 5th. Nitro will be 6th. Dino will be 7th, NFL will be 8th, Tony Monkey will be 9th, Dr. Ice completely implodes at the end, he falls to 10th, 11th will go to Thomas, and it looks like 12th will go to Amish Gaming. That was a wild run to the end. We're going to knock out an ad break. We'll be back shortly here at Homestead, Miami for post-race interviews after a wild season finale to the FEC Summer IndyCar Series. Finally, the parties are working. God! Can you hear me, maybe? Alright, God, this is so aggravating. Alright, I'm trying to get our top 5 finishers here. Who else is there? Fraught Meteor still.
That was someone else's job for the day.
Alright. Alright, I don't know if Fraught Meteor is going to be able to jump in or not. Have I got everyone? Yeah, Fraught Meteor got 4th. We're still missing Scored Buffalo as well. Oh, they're scored. Okay. Okay, 1 second. There's Meteor. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to Homestead, Miami. The season is over. We already knew who the champion was going to be, but there were other things to be crowned, including the last win of the season. I want to start this by interviewing our 5th place finisher, Prius Killer. Prius, go ahead, include your audio. Good run out there. The bad news is, with Scored Buffalo being in 2nd, it doesn't look like it will be enough. It looks like your team is not going to be able to take 2nd in the team's championship or 2nd in manufacturers. But what do you have to say about your run out there?
I finally didn't get fucked by a Homestead Oval race, because every single time I've done this, whether it's IndyCars, NASCARs, or something or other, like, either early on in the race, I'll get fucked and then there's no cautions and I'm 2 laps down, or I'll get screwed over at the very end of the race, like final lap or 2, and end up like 15th. But finally was actually able to finish on the lead lap and in a decent position here. That's all I can really ask for.
Well, you did a good job fighting up near the front. Do you think there's anything different you could have done to try and keep up with the top 3 at the end, though?
Probably on one of the cautions. I think it was 2nd or 3rd to last one. I know maybe pit during that one, but pit with him there, because that ultimately screwed the tire strategy, and then I had to pit before caution came out and got stuck a lap down, so then I was like 10th on the restart. If I would have been up there with them and like 3rd or 4th on the restart, I probably could have kept up with them then.
All right. With the season over as a whole, Prius, what do you have to say about the season looking back at it?
My internet sucks. My driving sucks occasionally, but I'm apparently good at ovals. So that's at least something to be happy about.
Yeah, there's that, and you did win the biggest race of the season as well, so you can at least walk home with your head held high for there. Good job on wrapping the season up with the top 5, mate.
Thank you.
All right, now I want to go ahead and talk with Fraught Meteor. Meteor, go ahead, include your audio in the Xbox party.
Yep.
Very interesting day for you, Meteor. You were involved in some of the early race incidents, and you're kind of all up and down the field at the back, and somehow you came home fourth.
Yeah,
How'd you do that?
Honestly, I got no idea. Yeah, it kind of just happened. Last Homestead race I did, qualified in pole position and came third, so I knew coming into this one I was gonna do very well. But it's all Homestead, and it's the final race, and tensions were gonna be high, so I never knew what I was gonna do. Somehow pulled this out of my ass.
Well, it was one heck of a drive to pull out of your ass. Not just that, you also gained more positions from your starting spot than anyone else in the field as well. So
That I was quite happy
really,
with.
really impressive.
Yeah, I think I went from I think I gained like
fourth.
yeah. In the last like 10 laps, I think I gained like 8 positions, or something stupid, like 4 or 5. I don't know. I was excited. I'm just happy.
So I do have to ask, what enabled you to do that? Did you have like a harder tire compound on at the end and everyone else bled off time, or what happened?
I don't know. Sometimes it kind of just feels like I'm just fast. No, I had softs, draft, and then honestly, the groove just kicked in, and I just went for it. I kind of knew what I was doing. I don't know. It just happens.
Well,
Oh,
it does seem like it just happened in all the right ways for you. A great top 5 to wrap up your season. It should probably vault you a few spots in the drivers' championship points as well, mate. Great job on your run at the end there.
Thank you very much.
All right, now I want to talk with our 3 drivers who were involved in that 3-way finish. We're not 100% sure who won. The camera angles from our broadcast booth were not the greatest. Okay, can we confirm who was second? Okay, so we'll go ahead and interview our 3rd place finisher, Maybe Racing. Maybe it was not a win to cap off your championship season, but you're still going to be finishing the season with something like 70 points, 75 points over the next closest person in the championship. What do you have to say about your run out there today?
Everything went well. I was there in the end. That's all I could ask for at these tracks, is to be there in the end, have that place. Everything raced well. Track and scored raced fantastically. I wasn't sure about strategy up until that point, but we got that caution, and that was basically free money at that point. So yeah. Apart from that,
I do want to ask a little bit about your strategy. In that long green flag run towards the end of the race, you went out there and we watched your tire wear. You were turning laps with your tires at 77% wear. How in the world did you do that?
A lot of patience and screaming internally at the car. It held together though, but yeah, somehow I didn't put that in a wall, even though I tried.
Yeah, we saw you lick the wall once, but you didn't seem to bleed off any significant time in the process. So I do have to ask, like, were you just setting up for just making 2 more soft tire stops after that? Because that's what it looked like from our perspective.
Yeah, so I wasn't certain that the mediums could make it. I was about 90% sure they could probably make it on very high tire wear. But I just honestly thought there would be a caution. Luckily, luck prevailed my way, and we got the caution. And that came to the end.
All right. It's been a dominant run for you all season. You locked up the championship a race early, even with missing a race. Is there anything you want to say at the end of this legendary 10-race run that you've had?
Thank you to everyone who raced. Thank you to everyone who was part of the organization. And thank you to Thunder and Claiming, who were my teammates for this one. Oh, we did, Panda. But yeah, thank you to everyone who was part of this. Thank you.
All right, that's the word from Maybe Racing. Now I want to talk with our 2nd place finisher, Scored Buffalo. Buffalo was definitely interesting. Coming into this race, you had a start-to-win rate of 1-1. And you've thrown that away by starting at an oval, but 2nd place for a discipline that you have been vocal about not liking before, still pretty good. What do you have to say about your run out there today, Buffalo?
there at the end. Um,
I mean, you say you couldn't keep that, but you did a damn good job. You, Jack, and maybe all exchanged the lead about 7 times between the 3 of you over those last 19 laps. So you say you didn't keep it, but if that's what you consider not keeping it, you would have a fantastic career in any kind of ball sport and any kind of motorsport. That was incredible what you did anyway. All right, one more question, Buffalo. Great performance here on an oval, which is a discipline that you have been vocal about not liking before. Do you like the oval racing more now, and would you try more oval racing in the future?
I don't.
All right. I don't know about everyone else, but I would think that's absolutely great. One more thing, Buffalo. Unless my points calculations are wrong, your second place finish should have guaranteed the Dodge entry, the Dodge manufacturer, second in manufacturer's points as well, despite not even showing up to all the races as far as I understand. So good job on that.
You said earlier that Meteor, who's also a Dodge, is he also a Dodge?
Oh, Meteor's done. Is Meteor?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm,
so yeah.
yeah, I'm the Dodge.
All right. So yeah, you guys definitely guaranteed Dodge second
you
in
did
the
get second. Nice,
manufacturer's
GG's.
championship then. All right. Well, with that in mind, I'll wrap up our interview with Score Buffalo. Now I want to talk to Jack Broseph. And Jack, we've talked with you several times over the season, and there's always been 2 narratives with you. Narrative 1 is that you miss qualifying or you have an awful qualifying, and then you dig deep and you claw your way up into about like 5th or so. The other narrative is when you qualify well, and then you drop positions in the race. There never seems to be anything consistent. Finally, at the end of the season, you finally put together a good qualifying and good race, and boy, did you put that together. Go ahead and include your audio. What do you have to say about your run out there today?
Man, I can't be happier. I mean, the highs and lows of that were insane. Like, I was on meets for most of the middle, so it did not feel good just getting passed by literally everybody. I was running near the back, but didn't really get any soft running practice, with everybody else. And then that last pit stop, I underfueled the car. So I thought I was screwed. I thought I was out. I was 5 laps short just from a misremembering of what lap it was. So I was saving fuel. I was struggling. And that caution came out, and it basically allowed me to reset, refocus, and go again. And I honestly think that the fact that I wasn't around everybody for most of the day was a big advantage for me, because they didn't know how I raced. They didn't know where I was fast, where I was slow, my weaknesses. I mean, I didn't see maybe most of the race, and certainly when I did, we weren't on the same tires. So I think kind of accidentally it really played into my favor in terms of that, but I'm just really happy. I finished second at Homestead so many times. I mean, 5, 6, 7 times at least, across NASCAR, Indycar, whatever. Like, I'm so excited that I finally was able to pull it together today. Regardless of any mishaps I had, I was able to just bounce back and get it done.
All right. One other thing to consider. So I can't confirm 100%, but I think it is very likely that based off of your win here, coupled with Amish Gaming being way down in 12th, I think you've leapfrogged Amish for 3rd in points. I don't know if you will have leapfrogged Dino, though, because Dino would have came home 7th, but you've definitely came really close. You're at least going to be 3rd in points as well with this win to finish off the season. So great job with that also.
Yeah, thank you. I believe I should be. I think Amish told me I'm 3rd, but I'll have to see when it's official. But I'm hoping so. I mean, I didn't get a podium at a road course all year, but if I can pull home 3rd in the championship, kind of a a reconciliation. But hey, one goal for the series was met, a won on an oval. I'm really happy. So, yeah, thank you everybody for hosting. Thank you Pandas for making the FEC so successful. I mean, I'm super happy. I think this is probably our strongest grid of the year, and I was able to pull it home. So, can't be upset at that. Certainly the strongest oval grid.
All right. That's the word from our race winner. Just a few other drivers I want to talk to real quickly. First, I want to talk with our 12th place finisher, Amish Gaming. Amish, you came into this race at several points. It looked like you could have leapfrogged up to second in the driver's points, but in the end, nowhere near the top. And it looks like you've actually lost ground. Is there anything different you could have done today, Amish?
I can tell you the thing I could have done differently. Not colliding with the pit barrier seems to be my curse at Homestead. Every race I've done here in this league, I end up colliding with the pit barrier on my stop before the finish. I usually have a good strat planned out for the end of the race. And it all goes downhill because I'm the last caution. So I think if I hadn't collided with that pit barrier, we'd be looking at a very different scenario right now, but Jack raced an amazing race, and I can't take away from that.
All right, well, it definitely worked out for him in the end, but you are still going to finish well ahead of Pindaz, so you will at least still take home 4th in driver points as well. So there is that at least you can be happy with going forward.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I know, it's sour grapes, but at least you have something to eat.
No, for sure.
All right, with that, there's one more driver I want to talk to, and that is Pindaz. Pindaz, go ahead and include your audio. Unless my numbers are completely busted, and that may be the case because Prius did finish up in 5th, so maybe he's close enough on you. But unless my numbers are busted, I think you just barely eked out 5th place in Drivers' Championship points. Pindaz, what do you have to say about your race today and your season as a whole that dragged you to what seems to be a 5th place in points overall?
Well, I was able to show up to everything, so I'm happy about that. I don't believe I had 5th. I know that the gap was 19 points between Prius and myself. I haven't had time to run the calculations, but either way, at least the top 6 in points is. I'm happy about that. I think my strongest finish was Laguna. I mean, really, my early season was tanked by me underfueling by 2 laps for the entirety of probably the first 6 races. This race I don't know how I found myself in first place doing a restart, but I made sure I gained the most time I could, and I went right away. I knew I'd fall back though. There's the other drivers are so much better than me, but I'm pretty happy with the season. Just as long as I bring in consistent results and I don't kill the car all the time, I'm happy. And I'm happy that we could bring the GGA X Raycon team up to top 5 in points. Very happy that Amish and CGK, both of us, could that.
All right, and now, instead of from a driver perspective, let's talk more from a series owner and the league runner perspective. We talked earlier in the season in one of these interviews about how the rules are getting changed for Miami. The first Miami race was not the greatest, to say the least.
Was not.
How do you feel the rules ended up being here? Do you feel that this race was better, worse, about the same? How do you feel that the rule changes worked out?
It was a lot better. We've become more, I suppose, lenient on cautions in terms of not calling it. Basically, as long as a persisting hazard isn't still on track, on the line, we haven't called a caution, and we haven't had a situation past these rule changes where we left a car on track and they later brought out a caution. As well as shortening up the restart zone, we still had some accordions happening, but a lot less accordions happened for this round. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. I was thinking about extending it. Now I'm definitely considering extending it for future, but that's a whole other bag going there. But I am so much more happy that we were able to make what I would say positive change, and then that actually had the effect of having a overall better second Homestead race, especially for it being just a slightly longer distance.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. I will also go ahead and crawl under the table between your legs here and say that the rule changes that you made earlier in the season has made it a lot easier to follow what was actually happening here on track under the yellow flag circumstances. It was not very easy to understand what was going on when we ran at Miami earlier in the year, and now it was very plain what was going on in circuit. So in that way, at least, from the outside looking in, it was a lot more organized and a lot easier to follow today. So good job on that as well.
Yeah. And again, it's not just me. It's all of the staff guys in here. Tracken maybe had a huge part, and I know Claiming couldn't make it tonight, but he has a really huge impact on some of the more race, just kind of how the races go, how they play out, more organization ways. So huge thanks to them for the help with getting that organized.
All right, and then one more thing, Pindaz, as series host and series official, you've teased for about the last week or so that you had other things you wanted to have coming up. Do you feel confident enough to share it now on broadcast? So everyone can put your feet to the fire later if it goes wrong.
Oh, yes, of course. So we, as ERU, I will confirm that I will be doing a second season around this time next year. Hopefully we can start a bit earlier. But in terms of upcoming series, we have two. So on Thursdays, starting on September 4th, it's going to be a 6-round calendar. FRML is going to be running their second season of Super Trofeos. Amish will be doing that, and hopefully Design can be around. I hope he can be back soon. And then in terms of Saturday series, Mr. NFL will be running the IFEA Delta Duels. That is going to be a, I believe, five round calendar, but it's going to be double headers. For those, it's going to be 25 minutes, and then for the Super Trofeos, it is 45-minute races. I will say, and they will cut me off if I say too much, we are confirming a October endurance race. I will not name the track nor cars, but I will say, if you understand how race weekends work, you might be able to find more info once I release the proper calendars this coming week. So that's all I'll say for the reveals, just to keep it a little more interesting.
All right, fair enough. So more things coming up in a short period of time to keep an eye on, so we appreciate that very much. With that in mind, that'll pretty much wrap up our broadcast for today's race at Miami. If you want more Miami racing, well, in about 6 days, it will be the PTG NASCAR season finale here at Miami. That race will be a little bit longer, a 300-mile affair instead of 225, so you can join us there on Saturday. But until next time, I've been your host for today's broadcast, Insanely Year 13. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Farewell and goodbye, everyone. And once again, thanks to Pindaz for allowing me to run and broadcast the entire series from start to finish as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for streaming, boss.
All right, and with that, we are done.